she told him. Human, our children would change galaxies. And his duty nearly destroyed them both. The crystal floor of House Varen's sky palace looked like frozen water. Every light above it turned into a glowing reflection below, so it felt like people were walking in the sky itself. Cole Harris stood near the edge of the grand hall, feet shoulder-width apart, helmet clipped at his hip. His black armor was polished, and the silver crest of House Varen shone on his chest, two curved lines twisting together like a double moon. He looked like a statue. He felt like an outsider. Alien nobles moved all around him. The Varel were tall, elegant, and blue-skinned, with faint silver lines glowing under their skin like soft circuits. Their long robes flowed as they walked, and their jewelry caught the light from the chandeliers that hung like floating stars. Soft music played. Glasses chimed. Voices talked about trade, power, and money. No one talked to the human guard. Cole was fine with that. After 15 years in Earth's special forces, and 3 more jumping from one contract to another, being ignored felt safe. When people did not look at you, you could see everything. Human. The voice came from behind him. Calm. Firm. Cole turned and saw Captain Rail, his Varel commander. Rail had sharp features and bright silver marks along his jaw that showed rank and long service. The North Wing needs more eyes, Rail said. Lord Varen is nervous about the Xyrix delegation. Yes, sir, Cole answered at once. He moved through the crowd, slipping between groups of aliens. He heard small pieces of their talk as he passed. Xyrix want more control over the lanes. If the marriage goes through, they will own half the sector. Lady Lyra has no choice. The name repeated in many whispers, Lady Lyra Varen. Only child. Heir. Future bride of Lord Caris of Dominion Xyrix. A wedding to stop a cold war from turning hot. Cole had never seen her. He expected he never would. He was security, not a guest. The North Wing was quieter. The lights were softer. The groups were smaller and closer together, talking in low voices. Cole chose a spot near an archway covered in carved symbols. From there he could see both the main corridor and the doors to the private meeting rooms. This is better, he thought. Clear lines. Clear angles. Easy to defend. He scanned like he had been trained. Doors, hands, faces, blind spots. He checked for threats, not beauty. A movement at the far end of the corridor broke his rhythm. The crowd shifted. People stepped aside and lowered their heads. Someone important was coming. Cole watched, because that was his job. She appeared between 2 older nobles, moving with the calm grace of someone who had practiced for this her entire life. Lady Lyra. Her skin was a soft blue, almost glowing under the lights, with thin silver lines tracing patterns along her neck and arms. Her hair fell like moonlight down her back, bright and pale, decorated with tiny metal chains and tiny glowing stones. Her gown shimmered from deep night blue to soft silver every time she moved. Her face was not fragile or weak. Her jaw was firm. Her mouth held a polite smile. But her eyes were violet, deep and layered, like they held more than one color at once. They moved over the room, sharp and careful, seeing more than she let show. They passed over the Varel nobles, the Xyrix envoys, the officers, the servants. Then they stopped on him. Cole did not move. He kept his body straight, his eyes on a point past her shoulder. The first rule of this kind of work, do not react. But his chest tightened anyway. Most people looked through him. Her gaze stayed on him. It felt like a hand on his collar, stopping him from breathing for a second. He told himself she would look away. He was wrong. Her head tilted just a little, as if she was curious about something she had not expected. Then she smiled. Not the fake smile she gave the nobles. Something smaller. Real. A hint of mischief. Cole killed the feeling that rose in him. You are a guard. She is a client. And someone else's future wife. He forced himself to look away, back to his watch. For the next hour, he worked his post. He followed the Xyrix delegation with his eyes. He checked the shadows, the doors, the guests who drank too much. He did not look for her. So he did not see her coming until she stood right in front of him. You're new, she said. Her voice was gentle but clear. Standard Galactic rolled off her tongue like a song. I have been in service to House Varen for 6 months, my lady. Cole replied, not moving. 6 months, she repeated, raising one slender eyebrow. And this is the first time I see you. Very strange. I'm usually assigned to the outer halls and perimeter posts, he said. Less pretty, more dangerous. She studied him openly now. Her violet eyes moved over his face, his armor, the scars on his hands. You're from Earth, she said. Yes, my lady. I've studied humans, she went on. You build too fast. Fight too hard. Burn your world almost to death. And then, somehow, you stand up again and walk into the stars like nothing can stop you. He almost smiled. That sounds nicer than it felt, my lady. Before she could answer, Captain Rail appeared beside them. Lady Lyra, he said, bowing. Your father asks for you. The Xyrix delegation is ready for formal greetings. For a moment, something like anger flashed in her eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by the calm face of a perfect heir. Of course, Captain, she said. I was only looking at our human shield. She turned away, but as she did, her fingers brushed Cole's arm. Light. Deliberate. She looked up at him one last time. Perhaps we will speak again, Earthman, she whispered. Then she walked back into the light and the crowd. Cole went back to scanning doors and threats and exits. But for the first time since he had joined the palace, he realized something dangerous. He was not just watching this story. He was now part of it. The next morning rose bright and calm over Varen Prime, but Cole Harris felt anything except calm. He moved through the eastern gardens during his early security sweep, boots crunching on glowing moss, eyes scanning every shadow the way habit had trained him. The gardens were beautiful, almost unreal. Tall crystal trees shimmered softly. Long vines hung from curved arches, glowing with living light. Strange flowers opened when the twin suns touched them, spilling soft colors into the air like drifting dust. But Cole barely saw anything. He was thinking of Violet Eyes. He shook his head hard. Focus, he muttered. Talking to yourself is not a good sign. Human. Cole spun, hand almost reaching for the pistol on his hip. He stopped just in time. Lady Lyra stood under an archway woven with luminous vines, looking far less formal than the night before. She wore a simple light blue dress, her hair braided loosely, without the heavy jewelry of the palace. Two handmaids stood far behind her, waiting quietly. My lady, Cole said, trying to control the sudden rush of energy in his chest. This area is clear, but it's not scheduled for guests today. Lyra walked toward him, the vines glowing brighter as she passed. I didn't realize I needed permission to walk in my own home, she said, her tone playful, but her eyes sharp. Besides, I wanted to see something else this morning. Something? Cole repeated. Someone, she corrected. His throat tightened. He kept his face still. You seem troubled, she said softly. Is guarding our halls so stressful? No, my lady, Cole replied carefully. I was just thinking. That sounds dangerous, she said with a faint smile. Humans and thinking often lead to trouble. Cole looked away toward the gardens. Humans and trouble are close friends. That, she said, stepping closer, is what I like about your kind. He did not move back, but he wanted to. She was too close, too curious, too everything. She tilted her head, studying him as though he were a puzzle. Tell me about your world, she said. Not the official reports. Not what your diplomats brag about. Tell me how you see Earth. Cole hesitated. It's messy, loud, full of mistakes, but also full of people who never stop trying. Trying what? She asked. Trying to fix things, he said. Trying to save each other. Trying to survive. Her expression softened. That sounds more beautiful than any report. Cole cleared his throat. Textbooks don't show everything. No, she agreed. They don't show you. She moved even closer, and this time, Cole could smell a faint floral scent coming from her skin, like something between rain and starlight. You're very different from the Varel, she murmured. Your posture, your energy, even the way you breathe. It's interesting. It's human, Cole said. I like human. Her voice dropped lower. Especially this one. Cole looked straight ahead, forcing air into his lungs. My lady, we should maintain distance. For your reputation. My father's reputation is the problem, she replied. Not mine. For a moment, her mask slipped. The polite air vanished. A young woman appeared, trapped, restless, and angry at the cage built around her. Then she exhaled slowly and let her calm return. I have been informed, she said, shifting back into a more formal tone, that during the Trimoon Festival, I will need extra protection. Cole nodded. There will be crowds. Noise. Lots of movement. High risk. Exactly, Lyra said. So my father and Captain Rail agreed. that you should be my personal guard during the festival. Cole felt the weight of her words. 3 nights. Non-stop public events. No armor. At her side. Dangerous. Very dangerous. That is an important assignment, he said slowly. It is, she replied, stepping closer again. You will be near me at all times. Walking beside me. Sitting beside me. Standing behind me while I greet nobles. Cole's heart pounded in a way it never had in combat. And why did they choose me? He asked. They didn't, she said. I chose you. He froze. My lady. Lyra, she corrected softly. He swallowed hard. My lady, this could create problems. People talk. They always talk, she said. The difference now is that I don't care. She looked at him, and something in her eyes flickered. Fear, hope, determination, all twisted together. You will keep me safe, she said quietly. Not just because it is your duty. Because you can. Cole looked away, jaw tight. I won't fail you. I know, she whispered. Then she turned, stepping back toward her handmaids. Be at my chambers tomorrow at sunset, she said. I will have clothing prepared for you. Something more suitable for a festival than armor. She paused. Her eyes glowed warmer now. And Cole? She added. Yes, my lady. Don't be late. She walked away, handmaids falling behind her. Cole stood frozen in the garden for a full minute, the glowing leaves swaying softly around him. 3 nights at her side. This was no longer just a job, and he was no longer just a guard. He was stepping into a storm he did not understand, drawn to the one person he was forbidden to want. Sunset arrived like poured gold across Varen Prime, and the palace changed with it. Lanterns floated up from hidden vents, rising into the sky like small glowing spirits. Music drifted through the halls, soft, shimmering notes that felt like they were made of air itself. Cole Harris stood outside Lady Lyra's chamber door, unsure whether he was ready. He wore the formal festival attire her attendants had prepared. No armor. No helmet. Just a dark blue tunic with silver threads woven in light patterns. The fabric felt almost too soft for someone used to battlefield gear. He barely recognized himself. The door opened without a sound. Lyra stepped out. Cole froze. Her festival gown looked as if moonlight had been spun into fabric. Soft layers shifted with her every movement, changing between silver and pale blue. Thin chains wrapped across her shoulders, catching the lantern glow with every step. Her hair was braided with tiny crystals that sparkled like stars caught in her hair. You look surprised, she said gently. I'm adjusting, Cole managed. She smiled. Good. Tonight, you are not simply my guard. You are my companion for the festival. My lady, that is. Lyra raised her hand. The festival allows flexibility. No titles. No politics. Only celebration. Her voice lowered. And I want you next to me. Cole swallowed hard but nodded. They walked together down the long stairway, toward the main courtyard. The music grew louder. Voices mixed with laughter. Thousands of floating lanterns bobbed beneath the 3 rising moons. As they reached the final steps, Cole felt every pair of eyes turn toward them. Conversations faded. Fans lowered. Several nobles leaned toward each other, whispering fast. They're staring, he murmured. Let them, she said, without slowing. It's been a long time since this palace saw anything interesting. They walked into the festival grounds. The air carried sweet scents, flowers that opened only under moonlight, fruits that glowed from within. Virile nobles in bright robes drifted through the crowd, each with body markings glowing in celebration. Lyra held her chin high, calm, graceful, but her hand rested lightly on Cole's arm, warm through the thin fabric. A noblewoman approached, bowing gracefully. Lady Lyra, may your moons align with happiness. And yours as well, Lyra replied, her polite smile perfect. The woman's eyes slid to Cole, sharp and evaluating. Your companion is unusual. I prefer unusual, Lyra said smoothly, then guided Cole forward before the woman could question further. Does this bother you? She whispered. Being stared at, he asked. I've had worse. Lyra laughed softly. That is not the answer I expected. The procession moved through the palace gates, into the old city. Citizens lined the streets, tossing petals that dissolved into tiny sparks when they touched the ground. Children pointed at the lanterns. Older Virile hummed along with the festival music. Cole scanned constantly, rooftops, windows, shadows, but part of him kept drifting back to the feeling of her hand on his arm. Finally, they arrived at the reflection plaza, a wide circle with a pool of still water at its center. The three moons hung above it, slowly drawing into alignment. Their pale light shimmered on the water like sliding silver. "The moon alignment begins soon," Lyra said. "Come." She led him to a quieter corner beneath carved columns, slightly hidden from the main crowd. "Here we can speak without everyone listening," she said. Cole kept his gaze on the crowd. "Are you safe here?" "Safe?" She looked at him. "Cole, you are the only reason I feel safe at all during this festival." Before he could reply, she stepped closer, staring at him in a way that made his heartbeat quicken. "You don't understand something important," she said quietly. "What?" "In Viral culture, bringing someone as a festival companion is not casual." Her voice softened. "It means trust." Cole blinked. "And you trust me?" "I trust you more than anyone in this palace." The moons aligned a little more overhead, brightening the plaza. Music swelled. People gasped as the first moonbeam touched the water, sending silver ripples through the pool. Lyra turned to him again. "There is a tradition," she said. "When the moons align, they reveal the truth in a person's heart." "That sounds dangerous," Cole replied. "It is," she whispered. "And freeing." The silver light glowed brighter. The crowd held its breath. Lyra leaned closer. Her voice became a soft thread of sound between them. "If someone speaks a desire under this light, it is believed the universe hears it." Cole's chest tightened. "Lyra, we can't. We already crossed lines the moment I asked you to walk beside me," she said. "I'm not afraid. But your promise to someone else." Her expression darkened. "Promised by politics, not by my choice." Silence fell between them for a moment. Then she stepped even closer, so close he could feel her breath. "I choose you," she whispered. "At least tonight. At least in this light. That is my truth." Cole closed his eyes for 1 second, one dangerous second. When he opened them, the moons were fully aligned, bathing everything in silver. And Lyra's hand slipped into his. Far away, the crowd cheered at the light hitting the water. But here, in the shelter of the columns, Cole felt something else entirely. A moment he could not step back from. A choice he could no longer avoid. A line he could cross with a single word. And he knew. Nothing about this night would leave his life unchanged. The first light of dawn touched the palace windows, turning the glass walls golden. Soft shadows stretched across Lady Lyra's private chamber, drifting over the silk sheets and the carved pillars that curved like living vines. Cole Harris woke before the room was even fully lit. Years of military habit snapped him into awareness instantly. He didn't move at first. He simply breathed in, steady and slow, trying to remember where he was. The air smelled faintly of warm flowers. The sheets were soft, too soft for a soldier's quarters. And an arm, light and warm, rested across his chest. Reality hit him in a single wave. Last night, the moons. Her hand in his. The hidden doorway through the East Gardens. Her whisper hours later, soft and dangerous, "Stay." He turned his head slowly. Lyra lay beside him, hair spread like silver fire across the pillow. She was still half asleep, her breathing calm and even. Her markings glowed faintly in the soft morning light. For a moment, Cole forgot the world. Forgot the marriage alliance. Forgot the politics. He saw only her, tired, peaceful, and real. Then the consequences slammed into him. He sat up slightly, pressing a hand to his forehead. "What have I done?" he breathed, barely audible. Without opening her eyes, Lyra spoke. "Thinking already?" Her voice was soft and teasing, but there was a strength underneath it. "You humans think yourselves into misery," she murmured, sliding closer. "It's almost charming." Cole swallowed hard. "Lyra, this was dangerous." "Beautiful," she corrected with a calmness that scared him more than any battlefield. "And honest." He looked at her helplessly. "Your engagement was never my choice," she said firmly. "Do not make it my prison." Cole rubbed his face, struggling. "This isn't just about choice. If anyone finds out." "They won't," she said quickly. But her eyes shifted, revealing a sliver of worry she tried to hide. "We were careful." He opened his mouth to argue, but a sudden sharp knock pounded on the outer chamber door. Both froze. A voice called through the barrier, stern, controlled, and terrifyingly familiar. "Lady Lyra, I require a word. It is urgent." "Captain Rail." Lyra's eyes widened. For the first time, she looked genuinely afraid. "Go," she whispered. "Use the servants' corridor." Cole was already moving. He grabbed his clothes from the floor, pulling the tunic on with military speed. His boots were still unlaced as he crossed the room. Lyra rushed to a small panel on the wall. She pressed her hand to it, and a hidden passage slid open, a narrow tunnel disappearing behind the columns. "Hurry," she whispered. "If Rail sees you here." He didn't need the rest of the sentence. Cole slipped inside the dark passage just as the outer door opened. The panel closed behind him. He stood in darkness, listening. "Lady Lyra," Rail said, his tone tight. "Lord Kharis has arrived from Xyrix ahead of schedule. He demands an immediate meeting." Cole's blood chilled. Why would the groom-to-be arrive unannounced? Lyra's voice came through the wall, steady but strained. "At this hour?" "Rumors have reached his ears," Rail said sharply. "Rumors involving you." Cole cursed under his breath. He moved through the narrow corridor, following the dim emergency lights. The path twisted behind the palace walls, ending in a storage room near the kitchens. He slipped out silently. He almost reached the hallway when someone spoke behind him. "Strange place to start your morning, human." Cole turned. Captain Rail stood with his arms crossed, eyes sharp as blades. Cole straightened, forcing innocence into his voice. "Sir, I was—" "Don't." Rail cut him off. "You came out of a passage that only leads to private quarters. Very specific private quarters." Cole's pulse hammered. Rail stepped closer. "If I wanted you arrested, you'd already be on the floor. I'm here because we have a bigger problem." Cole stayed still, waiting. "The Xyrix delegation is in a fury," Rail said. "Lord Kharis brought more guards than protocol allows. And an inquisitor." Cole stiffened. "The truth reader?" Rail nodded. "He intends to question the lady about her purity." Cole clenched his jaw so tightly it hurt. "And what does Lord Varen know?" Rail exhaled. "He knows something is wrong, but he does not know what." Silence hung between them. Then Rail added, quietly, "Lord Varen requested your presence in the throne hall." "My presence?" Cole echoed. "Why?" "No idea," Rail said, voice low. "But the moment Kharis sees you, everything breaks open." He turned and walked away. Cole stood alone in the hall, heart pounding. One night under the moons had set a storm in motion, and now he was walking straight into it. The throne hall of House Varen felt colder than usual. Long pillars rose like stone giants, glowing faintly with silver veins. The air hummed with quiet energy. Guards lined the walls. Advisors whispered nervously among themselves. Cole Harris entered through the side entrance, every step heavy. He wore full armor again, black plates, silver crest, visor lifted. His heartbeat echoed inside his chest like a drum. He felt every eye on him, but he kept walking until he reached his assigned post near the main dais. Lord Varen stood at the center of the hall, tall and calm, his silver markings bright under the lanterns. His expression was carved from stone. Across the room stood the Xyrix delegation. They looked like shadows wrapped in armor, tall, dark-skinned, with gold eyes that glowed faintly. Their movements were sharp, almost insect-like. And at their front stood Lord Kharis. He was larger than the others, wearing a dark suit that clung to his powerful frame. His eyes were cold, cruel, and razor-focused as soon as they landed on Lyra. When she entered, the room shifted. She walked with her head high, face calm, but Cole noticed the slight tension in her shoulders. She wore a formal gown today, deep blue, lined with silver threads. Her violet eyes flicked briefly to Cole, the smallest flicker of reassurance. Kharis' lips curved into a smile that did not reach his eyes. "Lady Lyra," he said, bowing slightly. "I came as soon as I heard the rumors." His gaze sharpened. "I wanted to confirm them myself." Lyra did not react. "Rumors are the favorite currency of the weak," she replied softly. "Which ones trouble you today, Lord Kharis?" His nostrils flared. "That you have been entertaining company that is not appropriate for a future queen." His eyes slid to Cole like a blade. The hall went silent. Cole stood still, jaw locked. He felt Lyra's fear like a shock through the air, but she hid it well. Kharis gestured, and one of his guards stepped forward carrying a small hollow device. He pressed a button. A hologram flickered to life in the center of the hall. Cole felt his breath stop. There, glowing in blue light, was the hidden garden path behind Lyra's chambers, and two figures moving through it under moonlight. "Cole and Lyra," gasps echoed. Advisors whispered sharply. Guards shifted position. Kharis stepped forward, voice dripping with triumph. "In Xyrix tradition," he said, "dishonor is corrected with blood." This human, He pointed at Cole. Has insulted me. Insulted my house. Insulted the alliance. Lord Varen's voice was calm, but sharp. He is my guard, not your possession. Carice didn't even look at him. I challenged the human to the circle of judgment. His smile widened. If he survives, his crime is forgiven. If he dies, the insult is erased. Cole met Lyra's eyes. She shook her head slightly, fear breaking through her calm for the first time. He stepped forward anyway. I accept, Cole said. Lyra inhaled sharply, but Carice's smile only widened. But, Cole continued, voice stronger now, as the challenged party. I choose the weapon. Carice laughed. Choose whatever makes you feel brave, human. Cole pulled a small data disk from his armor. I choose truth. Confusion crossed several faces. Cole pressed the disk into the holopad. The hologram changed. Not the garden. Not him and Lyra. A Xyrix woman appeared, blue-skinned, bruised, terrified, flinching under the shadow of a tall male figure. Then another image. Another woman, crying, clutching her stomach. Then another. A body at the bottom of a staircase. A voice recording played. Consort status terminated. Cause. Accidental trauma. The voice of Carice's own household system. The hall exploded into whispers. Carice's face twisted in fury. Lies. Cole stared straight at him. Your former consorts. 3. All dead. All after refusing you. Carice lunged forward, but his guards blocked him, unsure. Lord Varen stepped closer, eyes glowing with anger. Is this true? Lyra lifted her chin. It is. She projected her own crest. House Varen verified every file, every witness, every medical report. Carice's eyes burned with hatred. This is an attack on my honor. Honor. Cole stepped forward. Honor doesn't mean killing anyone who says no. The hall silenced. Carice's voice dropped low and dangerous. You think this saves her? Saves you. He pointed at Cole with shaking fury. You have stolen what is mine. She belongs to no one, Cole said quietly. Lyra flinched, not from fear, but because the words struck deep. Lord Varen raised his hand. His voice cut through the room like a blade. This alliance is finished. House Varen withdraws. Carice bared his teeth. Without us, your trade routes collapse. Then we will build new ones, Varen replied calmly. Beginning with the Terran Confederation. Carice's composure finally cracked. He spat out a single promise. This is not over. He spun, snapping commands to his guards, storming toward the exit. As he left, the room trembled slightly, as if something powerful had been set in motion. Cole remained still, breathing hard. Lord Varen looked at him, not with anger, but with calculation, and something else Cole couldn't yet understand. The storm had just begun, and he was standing at its center. The throne hall had barely settled when the first tremor shook the palace. A low rumble rolled beneath the marble floor, making the lanterns sway. Advisors gasped. Guards reached for their weapons. Even Lord Varen's expression tightened. Cole Harris felt the vibration and knew instantly. That was not an accident. Another tremor hit, stronger, sharper. Dust fell from the high pillars. Captain Rail pressed a hand to his comlink. Report. Static crackled. Then a panicked voice. East wing breached. Unidentified units. Weapon fire. The rest was swallowed by noise. Rail swore under his breath. Xyrix soldiers. Carice left strike teams behind. Lord Varen's eyes flashed with fury. He dares to attack inside my house. He dares because you embarrassed him, Rail said. Humans call this revenge. Xyrix call it justice. Cole was already moving. He didn't wait. Didn't ask. Didn't think. He reached Lyra and grabbed her arm. We need to move. Now. Lyra didn't argue. She understood the danger before anyone else. Lord Varen pointed at Cole. Take her to the West Tower panic room. It's sealed and reinforced. Rail stepped forward quickly. My lord, let me escort her. No, Varen said sharply. Heiress moves faster. And she trusts him. Rail's jaw clenched, but he nodded. Cole tightened his grip on Lyra's hand. Stay behind me. Don't stop for anything. She nodded once. I trust you. They ran. The palace's polished halls echoed with distant gunfire now. Short bursts, sharp cracks, shouts of guards responding. Cole pushed through a side door into the servants' passage, the same hidden network he had used earlier. Left, he said, breathing steady. Down the ramp. Keep low. Lyra followed without hesitation, her dress sweeping the floor as they raced down the narrow path. A sudden blast shook the wall beside them. Heat rolled through the passage. Lyra stumbled. Cole caught her before she fell, pressing her against the wall with his body as debris rained past them. "They're close," she whispered. "Too close," Cole muttered. Footsteps echoed behind them. Fast, heavy, unmistakably Xyrix. Cole grabbed Lyra's hand again. "Run." They sprinted through the twisting passage until they reached a metal service door. Cole shoved it open and dragged her into the palace gardens. Night air hit them, cool and crisp. Lanterns still floated in the sky, drifting above glowing plants. The peaceful beauty of the garden felt painfully out of place with the chaos inside. "We need to cross the courtyard," Cole said. Lyra pointed toward a trellis covered in star-shaped flowers. "There's a hidden path behind that. It leads straight to the West Tower." "Perfect. Move." They darted into the garden's shadows, weaving between tall, glowing trees and wide leaves that shined like stained glass. Halfway across, a Xyrix soldier stepped from behind a statue, weapon raised. Lyra froze. Cole reacted with soldier instinct. He shoved her down behind a stone bench, rolled, and fired a quick, precise shot. The soldier collapsed, but the blast noise echoed. Too loud, too clear. Cole heard movement approaching fast. "They know we're here," he said. "Then we must hurry," Lyra whispered, fear finally touching her voice. They sprinted again. 3 more soldiers emerged from a cluster of luminescent bushes, firing energy bolts that hissed past their heads. Cole grabbed Lyra, pulling her behind a tall crystal tree as bolts shattered the lower branches into sparkling shards. He returned fire, quick, controlled shots. 1 enemy down, another wounded. The 3rd ducked behind a fountain. "We can't stay here," Cole said. "When I say run, run." Lyra nodded, gripping his arm. "Run." They dashed toward the trellis. Bolts scorched the ground behind them. One shot hit Cole's side plate, throwing him off balance. He nearly fell, but he kept moving, kept pushing, kept shielding Lyra with his own body. The trellis appeared ahead, its flowers glowing bright. "Here," Lyra cried, reaching the hidden panel. She pressed her hand against it. The wall shimmered and slid open. Suddenly, a Xyrix soldier appeared just behind them, weapon pointed directly at Lyra's back. Cole didn't think. He threw himself between them. The blast hit him square in the chest. Pain exploded through him, white, burning, violent. His armor absorbed the worst of it, but the force knocked him to the ground. "Cole!" Lyra screamed. Through blurred vision, he aimed and fired one last accurate shot. The attacker fell. Lyra dragged Cole inside the hidden door, slamming the panel shut just as more Xyrix soldiers turned the corner. Cole groaned, breath shallow. Armor held mostly. "You're hurt," she said, voice shaking. "I've had worse," he lied. She pulled him up, her arm under his, helping him climb the internal staircase toward the panic room. "Come on," she whispered. "Just a little more." They reached the panic room at last, a reinforced chamber with sealed doors and thick walls. Lyra keyed the activation rune. The door locked with a deep, final sound. They were safe. For the moment. Cole leaned against the wall, breathing hard, his shoulder burning with every heartbeat. Lyra knelt beside him, hands trembling as she placed a medical patch over the damaged armor seam. "You saved my life," she whispered. Cole gave a weak smile. "Just doing my job." She touched his cheek gently. "You did more than that." Outside, distant explosions faded. The palace defenses were pushing back the attack. Inside, the room felt strangely quiet, almost intimate. Cole exhaled slowly. "Lyra," he began, but she placed a finger on his lips. "Rest," she whispered. "The universe can wait." And for the first time since the attack began, Cole let his eyes close, just for a moment, knowing he had protected the one person he could not afford to lose. The chaos had finally ended. Hours later, the palace stood in a tense calm. Broken pillars were being repaired by drones. Guards patrolled every hallway. Medical teams moved in quiet urgency. The smell of smoke still clung to the air. But in the West Tower panic room, the world felt still. Cole Harris sat on a low bench, armor open at the shoulder where Lyra had patched him up. The burn still stung, but he hid the pain well. Soldiers learned to breathe through worse. Lyra sat beside him, one hand resting lightly on his arm. She hadn't moved far from him since the attack ended. Not once. A soft chime sounded, and the door unlocked. Lord Varen entered with Captain Rail. The room brightened slightly as the light caught the silver lines across the Lord's face. He looked at Cole for a long moment. I owe you more than I can express, Lord Varen said. My daughter lives because of you. Cole stood automatically, but pain shot through his shoulder. He winced, but remained upright. Just doing my duty, my lord, he said. No, Varen replied quietly. No soldier runs into open fire for mere duty. You risked your life because you cared. Lyra's fingers tightened on Cole's arm. She did not deny it. Rael stepped forward slightly. My lord, with respect, we cannot ignore that the human's role has become complicated. Lord Varen nodded. Complicated, yes, but also important. He paced slowly, hands behind his back. Caris will not be forgiven by the council, Varen said. His attack on our palace was seen by too many eyes. Zyric's influence will fall, and we must prepare for whatever choices they make next. Cole listened, silent and steady. We must rebuild our alliances, Lord Varen continued. And Earth has shown unexpected strength. Humanity is young, but brave, direct, loyal. His eyes settled on Cole. Your actions today prove that. Cole felt something heavy shift in his chest. My lord, I only did exactly what a true ally does, Varen said, cutting him off. Not for a contract, not for a reward, but because it was right. Lyra rose slowly and moved closer to her father. You know why he stayed by my side, she said softly. There was no fear in her voice now. No shame, only certainty. Lord Varen looked at her, then at Cole, studying both of their faces. I suspected it, he admitted. But suspicion is not truth. And I needed truth. He approached Cole until they stood only a step apart. Humans and Varel were never meant to cross paths so closely, he said. Not in the old way of thinking. Cole held his gaze. Then maybe it's time for a new way. Lord Varen's lips twitched, something between amusement and acceptance. Perhaps it is, he said. He turned to Lyra. When you were born, I imagined a future shaped by treaties and politics. A safe world for you. A secure alliance. I don't want alliances built on fear, Lyra said quietly. Or on chains. I know, Varen replied. His voice softened. And I see now that I was preparing you for the wrong kind of future. He exhaled deeply, then faced Cole again. Heiress, he said. Human tradition and Varel tradition differ. But I know one thing is shared between our species, honor. Cole nodded. And you showed honor not only today, but every day since you stepped into this palace. Lyra stepped beside Cole, her violet eyes shining. Father, I choose him. The room felt like it stopped breathing. Rael stiffened. My lord, that would be unorthodox, Varen finished. Yes. Dangerous. Certainly. He paused. Necessary? Maybe. Varen stepped closer to Cole and placed a hand on his uninjured shoulder. I will not force my daughter into a loveless alliance, he said. Not again. Not ever. Cole felt emotion tighten in his chest. My lord, I will protect her with everything I am. I know, Varen said simply. That is why I am giving you both a chance, a real one. Lyra's breath caught. Father, you will begin formal courtship, Lord Varen said. Not hidden, not secret, official. Rael's mouth fell open slightly. Human and Varel? My lord, people will object. Let them, Varen said. Let the galaxy talk. He turned back to the two of them. You will face challenges, he warned. From the council, from old traditions, even from the Zyrix remnants. Cole nodded. I've never run from a fight. Lyra smiled softly. Neither have I. Lord Varen studied them a moment longer, then nodded once. Then faced them together. He started toward the door, then paused. Oh, and heiress, he added without turning. The council will want a liaison between Earth and Varen Prime. Someone brave. Someone respected. Someone who understands both worlds. Cole blinked. Are you asking me? I am appointing you, Varen said. Report to my study tomorrow. You begin immediately. He left, Rael giving Cole a long stare before following. Silence returned. Cole let out a slow breath. That went better than I expected. Lyra laughed softly and leaned against him, her hand sliding into his. You see, she whispered. Truth can be a weapon too. He looked down at her. And what now, he asked. She smiled, bright, brave, and full of the future. Now, she said, we show the galaxy what humans and Varel can become together. Outside, 3 moons rose again, pale and calm. Inside, for the first time since he came to this world, Cole felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. And beside him stood the woman who had changed everything, with a smile, a truth, and a forbidden touch. Together, they stepped out of the panic room, into a new alliance, a new future, a new story for the stars. HFY. Humanity rising.